This is just a warning.
So, Eddie Hall, Thor. Eddie Thor, Rory Hall. What's going on there?
So that fight's happening in September.
That is soon, isn't it?
And Thor's been having like these exhibition fights. I think you knew one of the guys he fought, didn't you, Loz?
Yeah, two of the guys. Ward, I was training with him when I was in Manchester with Oliver Harrison, and also Simon Vallely was on GB as well. So know both guys. So he's doing the right thing. He's going out there and getting real experience. Because
are they big guys or like what
they're
size?
big boys. Like.
Okay.
Yeah. They're not quite Thor big, but they're fucking.
It must be great. It's virtually impossible for him to find someone who's him big.
Yeah.
Not really.
Not Eddie Hall big.
Not in the boxing world. There's not really many. Other than someone like Tyson Fury is probably as big as you're going to get, really. But yeah, I'm quite impressed with Thor, the way he's progressing. But Eddie Hall's so explosive, and we're just talking earlier. He's got that more of that animalistic kind of mentality. He's going in there to rip your head off. You know what I mean? Whereas Thor
seems more of a boxer, whereas Eddie's more of a fighter.
I think the result is determined on
the rounds.
The rounds.
Yeah.
I think if
let's say it's an 8-rounder.
If Eddie don't get him out in the first 3, then I can see Thor boxing his way to a win.
I'm coming up to cardio, me.
I think I can't see going past a round or 2 personally.
It's too big.
Two guys that big, and they both got power. Even, I mean, for me, Eddie's a lot more explosive. He's got quicker hands, but
the speed difference seems quite clear.
It's very clear.
Eddie seems a lot quicker with his hands. But to be fair to Thor, as much as I'm an Eddie guy, obviously I'm mates with him, but Thor's footwork does look pretty impressive, and in the actual strongman world,
balanced,
Eddie was the static guy who would have the explosive power, like you're saying, like of the deadlift, the bench press, and all of that. Although Thor eventually, got great at deadlifting as well. Generally speaking, if it was a stood still movement, Eddie, you don't get near him. Whereas Thor, if you got to pick something up and run with it, or run and throw something, Thor would be good at that.
So what's Eddie doing behind the scenes, and who's he sparring with? Like, is he doing the same as Thor and sort of mixing it up?
Thor seems to be mixing up a lot. Thor's got a lot of just random massive guys in there with him on his YouTube channel.
Good.
Big boys. And whereas Eddie has gone for an actual amateur, I think.
Young lad, yeah.
He's got a young amateur with him who's a huge guy who...
is that the guy we made blood?
No, that's his friend who was his pad man.
This is why I'm not your pad man.
Yeah,
he's my friend. I make him spit blood for a living.
Eddie, the guy had a body protector on. Eddie digged his mate in the gut and made him spit blood. But he's actually brought on board, I think, a high level amateur who is a younger guy he's sponsoring him actually.
Oh, no.
And he, fair play to Eddie for trying to help the kid out as well. But he does look a good boxer. But I don't think he's a southpaw, but he's fighting him southpaw. He's sort of switching stances.
I think he's a switch hitter.
He's trying to replicate the Thor style. But Eddie seems to have one main sparring partner, whereas Thor seems to be just scrapping with whoever.
Which is what he needs. Which is what you need to do.
Is there a right approach or a wrong approach in that?
I guess there's certain fundamentals that have to be in place. I think, and in-ring experience is going to be key. And you want to be able to change your sparring partner, because also it's going to give you that different mentality. If you keep sparring someone it does over time get less and less intense, because you're like, all right, here we go again.
And you're friendly with the guy.
You need that new guy to walk in the gym and you're like...
There was one little thing I did notice about Eddie's sparring. Obviously, as a friend, I'm like trying to pick up any little thing. All right, what can he do better? And the younger lad who he brought in, he was digging him in the face in minimal sparring footage that Eddie's released. To be fair, I think Eddie's been quite clever. He doesn't want to release too much. And Eddie was kept dropping his hands. Now, look, I know it's not the end of the world if a boxer drops the hands. It doesn't, Logan got criticised like fuck with it before he fought Floyd, and it didn't really make any difference. The point was Eddie was taking punches off this guy, and he wasn't feeling the need to bring his hands back up. And I thought in my head, like, he doesn't hit you hard enough to force you to bring your hands up. But that might be a lesson worth learning now, because despite the lack of technique, obviously, if Thor gets 3 shots on you like that, you might think, fuck me, that hits a lot harder than what my fucking sparring partner did, who's probably 8 stone lighter than Thor. You know what I mean?
And this is the thing, you know, sparring rounds, as we know, and rounds on the night, two different feelings. Like, what Thor is doing is he's going into fights, so he's dealing with the anxiety of fighting, and he's going the distance and getting the rounds. Whereas Eddie's gonna be in the gym like, oh man, that was great, got knocked out at 8 rounds of sparring. He's gonna get in the ring on the day, round 2, that dump of energy, he's not gonna be used to it. So it's like, that's gonna be a big thing as well, you know.
Preparation-wise, Thor seems to be doing a lot of right things. Although when I see them hit pads and training, I always think Eddie just looks far sharper and far quicker. His hand-eye coordination, because he's a smaller guy, like Thor tries to throw these big looping hooks as people are coming towards him. I'm like, mate, how are you going to fucking time someone?
His timing is
like,
off, yeah.
You can't time someone like that when you're that big, and like, no offense to him, but he's just so big. Like, that type of shit takes years.
He probably thinks about throwing it, and then it comes out a bit.
Yeah, he sends the email to his hand, and eventually his hand opens.
He's probably like, he's coming in hook quick, and
it takes a while for his hand to read that email, for sure. But yeah, personally, look, I'm not just saying this because you know, I love the guy. I think Eddie's going to win. I just think that explosiveness. When I watch Thor, despite him doing a lot of good things in preparation and his footwork being a bit better, he just seems a bit like flustered when people throw at him. And with Eddie having this violent aggression and those quick hands, I think he's just going to hurt him with a body shot. Because I did see Thor did take 1 body shot. He looked a bit, oh, I think to myself, if Eddie hits you, you're going down, pal. Like, it won't take much.
I'm backing Eddie anyway. I'm backing Eddie for the win.
Yeah.
I want Eddie to win. But, you know, it's just... We're just talking on things that we can see and just weighing it up, but I'm definitely backing Eddie for that fight.
What do you think, Loz?
I think they're both doing good things within the training. I think with Eddie kind of bringing that guy who's an amateur, the only difference is he's a lot more experienced, even though he's only a young guy. He's he's a lot more technical. He'd probably not make as many mistakes. Sometimes you kind of you need that novice style sparring.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
It's like there's no good having all this tech. You know, in boxing sometimes it's the unorthodox guys that give you problems.
Forever.
I've sparred guys and like I might have been in a gym sparring and there's been a young guy and the coach said, oh, will you do a few rounds with him? And I've went, yeah. And sometimes you've got caught off that guy because they don't do the textbook things.
Yeah, what they should be doing.
What they should be doing.
It's probably how Floyd felt when he was in there with Logan.
Possibly.
You know, it's just like the
and
normal...
Michael Bisping said a very similar thing in an interview as well. Like, sometimes the kid who's the novice is the one who catches you because he ain't doing what you're expecting.
I know some of the guys that Thor's been spawned, like, they're kind of a lot slower on the feet. There's no way Eddie Hall's going to stand off. He's going to rush in at him and kind of let his hands go. So he kind of needs that type of sparring to kind of come accustomed to it. But
very true.
Thor has been, like I say, getting that experience, trying to get in the uncomfortable situation.
Thor seems to understand the ring psychology quite well, like as in where to move and where to be and how to sort of back off and when to go. His hands are just terrible.
His ring generalship is like he's in the rings 10 times
his ring
better.
IQ and his footwork is all right, but his hands are terrible. Whereas Eddie, I don't know about. Obviously, I think he's very heavy. Yeah. Like I look at him in there and I think, God, moving your feet must be hard work. But those hands, much more devastating for me.
I think the problem is for Eddie is I think he's going to go in there with such intent. If he doesn't get him out in the first round, I think he's going to really, really struggle. I know you mentioned like this similar sort of thing because he's such a big guy, and
Thor carries the weight better. He's 6'9". He's more. It's distributed.
We both know that they're not.
But he's already had fights where he's. I think was it not one of these fights a 6-rounder?
Yeah.
So like
he did 6-3s Thor.
After 6-3s. He was actually looking quite well. I thought it was going to be done.
Very impressed.
Thor actually got better as the fight went on. I thought his combinations and stuff actually came together better, like as he got looped up.
He's far more relaxed. He kind of conserves his energy a lot better. So it's an interesting one.
This is just a warning.